Alright, John, hey, kid. You know who we are. So this is our new podcast. We're podcasting again. Do you remember the Canny Talk podcast? The Canny Talk.
Yeah.
Canny Talk lasted quite a while. 5 episodes.
That was ages ago.
It was one of the first things we did. First things first. This is a new podcast. We're starting again. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We'll hopefully get your opinions in the comments, but we'll also we might get other people on. You know, might get a call on. We might get my mum on, dad, friends, you lot. You might invite some of you to take part. And these is going to be going on every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, expect one of these. I was going to do Sunday, but Wednesday, right in the middle of the week. Who doesn't want to listen to two know-it-alls talking on a Wednesday?
Offending everyone.
Secondly, as you might have noticed, we haven't uploaded for quite a while.
Yes.
It's been over a month now. So, just so everyone's aware, I have had some medical issues. Still ongoing.
Quite a lot. It's always you.
Yeah, it's always me.
Not to be nasty, but...
Still ongoing. Then we went on holiday. 2 weeks in Scotland. My medical issues flared up again. We also celebrated Katie's 21st birthday. So, happy birthday, I guess. But we are coming back because there's actually been quite a lot of people commenting and supporting us and still subscribing, which is really, really amazing. So thank you all for that. So I guess this is back. So it's something that me and you both missed while we were away doing other things.
Yes.
Is Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer?
Is it
Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer. That says Barbenheimer. And so neither of us went to the cinema. I assume we're going to wait till it comes out in here to react to it.
It's a bit crazy, wasn't it? The world kind of turned pink and grey all at the same time. It was very, very weird.
And it couldn't be two more polar opposite films if you tried.
Almost as if two movies have never come out at the same time ever.
No.
Before.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few other things as well. In our first one, we're going to try and not talk for 3 or 4 hours. We're going to try and keep it.
Well, you say that, but I'm pretty sure we've done that before.
Yeah, I can talk for quite a while.
Yes.
So can you. So Barbenheimer. Barbenheimer.
Yes.
Which were you more excited about?
It's weird because I thought Barbie was interesting, mainly because you wouldn't ever think about doing a Barbie movie. You know, like they've done them before, but they're always like just for kids, or children like adults.
Yep.
So I thought it was an interesting choice, and it was colourful for once. I just feel like cinema nowadays is just dark and dull and grey. I feel like everything that comes out just looks dark and depressing.
Super Mario Brothers wasn't dark and depressing. And I haven't even seen that.
Yeah. That didn't look dark and depressing. But you know what I mean? So it felt like it was something different. So I was looking forward to Barbie, but I love Christopher Nolan. He's probably one of my favourite directors.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of his stuff, so I was looking forward to Oppenheimer as well.
So the reason that I asked you first is because I feel like my answer is very obvious.
Yeah.
I was not looking forward to Barbie at all. The starring of Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling and all the rest of them that are in it. I can't remember all the names.
Quite a lot of people. John Cena's in it.
John Cena's in it, yeah. Like none of that could make me excited for this film. I wasn't excited for the film. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's just going to be a funny, take the mick."
That's what I thought it was going to be, but we haven't seen it, by the way, so we don't know everything. But
apparently, it's got a very serious message in it.
It's very it's quite serious
which you don't expect in a film called Barbie. It would be like going. He is a Jackass. It's gonna tackle serious issues. No, I don't expect the film. The last thing I want from Barbie is to be lectured about something, and if that's what the movie does, then I'll not be happy about it. I don't think it does, because by all accounts it is okay.
People,
say
there's
it's
been
okay.
there's been mixed reviews, and there's some people that are saying it's like really good. It's like revolutionary cinema. I don't know if it is that. Some people are saying yeah, fair enough, but it's not like the best movie of all time. There's kind of been mixed reactions, but from all accounts, it seems to be a decent watch.
Mm-hmm.
So we can watch it.
But then there was Oppenheimer, which I was like, it's a 3-hour film by Christopher Nolan. It builds up to a gigantic explosion.
Yes.
Christopher Nolan dislikes CGI, so I assume
he probably blew up half the world.
He probably did nuke something at some point. And yeah, I'm the same as you. Christopher Nolan's just a director that I always get excited about.
I can't like. I don't think I've seen all of his stuff.
I doubt it.
I doubt it as well, but the stuff that I have seen has just been really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I've yet to see a film by him that wasn't good.
Yep.
Which is impressive, considering the range that he's had.
So by all accounts, this film is about obviously the building of the atomic bomb. Mm-hmm. But it's more than just. It's not like a sort of team up movie where they build a bomb to blow up the world.
A team up movie where they build a bomb.
Because that's something that does happen quite a lot, where it just goes, okay, here's 5 really good actors, and we're going to tell the story about how this thing happened, and that's it. That's all that happens.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's essentially like we're relying on these lot acting. So supposedly the story is more about, the Germans are trying to build the atomic bomb, the Americans are trying to build the atomic bomb, but a small miscalculation from either could essentially end the world.
Yeah.
And set the atmosphere on fire and kill
kind of
everyone.
like the morality of it. Like, should they do it? Should they not?
And it was a race. Apparently, it's a race not just to build the atomic bomb, but to build it before the Germans can, so that they can actually stop the Germans from blowing up the world as well. Which again, it's niche, considering the film is essentially about a giant explosion.
I feel like, because you wouldn't expect a story based around that.
Yeah.
But it's Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
Like, he's...
And then you look at the cast in it as well. It's got one of the best casts that I've ever seen. Robert Downey Jr. as well turned around and said this is probably the closest thing to pure cinema that he's ever been a part of. And considering what he's been a part of, then...
Yeah. Well, like you say, he doesn't like CGI, so it's not like they're just in a warehouse somewhere with surrounded by green. They're actually, like, on location, they're on sets, like, built... if something does explode, it'll actually be happening. It's probably a lot easier to, I'd imagine. Anyway, I'm not an actor to act, I'd imagine.
So if you were given the choice, because I saw a lot of people who were saying, like, they went to see both films in one after the other. And saw a lot of people. The argument was there about why they should go and see Oppenheimer first. A lot of people said, man, they should go and see Barbie first. Domestically, in terms of profits, Barbie's doing better.
Yeah, there was a lot of craze around Barbie.
Yeah. So if you were given the choice to only watch one, which would you watch?
To only watch one in the cinema?
Yeah.
To only watch one in the cinema, I'd probably go for Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Because of, I feel like it's just better in the cinema, isn't it?
Supposedly as well, the end explosion is meant to be like... to actually experience what it was like to be there when it was...
I've seen people say they could hear the explosion while watching Barbie. So...
Good. I hope it ruined the film for them. My pick would have been Oppenheimer as well.
Because in the cinema, and it's like you're immersed. And I remember when we saw Tenet in the cinema, and that was like really intense and just a good watch.
But that got me thinking, right? Because my initial thing was like, okay, so the first episode of the podcast will be about Barbenheimer. But then I was kind of like, shit, that would only be like 20 minutes, if that. I mean, we're only not even 10 minutes at the minute, and that's not the whole thing. So the next question would be, do you think there's any directors left in Hollywood that can really create a hype just by attaching their name to the film? I feel like Christopher Nolan is the only one that I can really think of.
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like now there's kind of less hype around directors. Do you think it seems more like it's more about the actors that are in it? You know what I mean? Like, there's still hype around directors, obviously, yeah, but...
I think there's always been more hype around actors
Mm-hmm.
You know, people always go, "Oh, there's a new Robert De Niro movie. Oh, let's go and see it."
Yeah.
Or there's a new whatever. But I mean, just by like,
but that's the thing. I feel like with Christopher Nolan, you could just say to me, "Oh, Christopher Nolan's releasing a new movie," and I'd go, "Yeah," because 9 times out of 10, a lot of the cast will remain the same because he likes certain actors. Cillian Murphy, yeah.
Or Killian. I don't know if it's Killian or Cillian. Cillian sounds better on tongue.
Yeah.
But apparently, I think it's Killian.
It might be Killian. Might be. Oops, sorry.
I think we just insulted Cillian Murphy.
It's alright.
He seems cool.
Yeah, and you know it's always gonna be a good cast.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you could just say, we're gonna go to the cinema and watch the new Christopher Nolan movie. And I'd be like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That'd probably be good.
I think the thing is as well with Christopher Nolan films is that he's done so many different types of films that it's kind of like, he's not like, please don't be offended people who love all these directors that I'm about to say, but like Quentin Tarantino says, and I love Quentin Tarantino by the way, I love all his films, he basically goes, well, I make films that I like, and if people like them, then
that's good. Which is a good way to go about it.
Martin Scorsese, it could be argued, is very typecast in what he makes. You know, he's only good at making sort of criminal movies.
Or like similar type of movies.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, even the likes of people like Steven Spielberg. Although Steven Spielberg did things like, you know, E.T. and Indiana Jones, which are two very different things.
Yeah.
They're all vaguely quite similar in the way that they're made. Whereas Christopher Nolan, I feel like almost every film he's done has been different, and the only thing that's sort of similar in a lot of them is your mind gets blown.
And the cast.
And the cast, yeah. But like he's done murder mysteries, he's done superhero movies, he's done time travel movies, he's done dreamy movies. That was the one I said before, time travel. He's done a biopic. You know, he's done so many different. He's done a magic film about magic. It's like, and apparently that film's one of the most highest rated films of all time.
Magic.
The Prestige.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I don't think you have either.
Yeah.
I don't think you've seen the Dark Knight trilogy.
I have.
I don't think you have.
I actually watched the Dark Knight yesterday. I'm not even joking.
Why wouldn't you wait to watch it on time?
I'm not even because I have seen them before. Of course I've seen them.
But anyway, the best thing about nearly all of Christopher Nolan's films is they all end really well. I can't think of a Christopher Nolan film that I watched it and thought I didn't like the way that ended.
Yeah. There's
been a few films that like Quentin Tarantino's done, Martin Scorsese's done as well, you know, even Spielberg. So, you know, big Robert Zemeckis. Could you call him Bobby Zemeckis there? He's not my friend. Where I've kind of, you know, I've thought, well, it was a bit, you know, it's a bit for an ending, but I can't remember ever being like that with a Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best 3 endings of any trilogy ever, and this is crazy coming from me, is the Dark Knight trilogy. Those 3, there isn't a bad ending in any of them.
Yeah.
And if I had to say, Lord of the Rings is still the better trilogy. In my opinion, I don't think there's ever going to be a trilogy that beats the Lord of the ever. At least in my time. But there isn't a bad ending in the Dark Knight trilogy, and there's a lot of holes you can poke in those films. You know, like there's a lot of holes people can poke in those films, but the endings are perfect in those films. And there's not many directors that I can think of off the top of my head that have done that. Peter Jackson did it. Fair play to him. You know, Lord of the Rings trilogy. But Greta Gerwig certainly never has.
I don't know. Have I seen any of Greta
I have no
Gerwig's
idea, because I don't know if I have either. I don't know any of her films. And maybe that's my fault.
I can't think off the top of my head.
But again, the thing that brings us back to Barbie and Oppenheimer, and I've already kind of said it a little bit. It's kind of like, in a movie like Oppenheimer, where the literally detail and the creation of one of the most destructive weapons that's ever been built, right? I would expect there to be a message and a moral in that story. You know, something where you're sitting there and going, oh God, I've never thought about it like that. No, I've never considered that.
Well, they don't have to shove it down your face. You can just do that through like the emotional turmoil.
But then a film like Barbie, which apparently does have a message in it, I would be sitting there, and if it was trying to tell me this, you know, and it's wagging its finger at me and it's telling me that I should be more considerate or whatever, it's kind of like, it's a film about a plastic doll. Why on earth is that telling me what to do? Like,
do you know what it is? I'm confused and I feel like I hope it like clarifies it in the movie, but I'm confused at how Barbie is how, you know what I mean?
Well, isn't it about a doll that becomes sentient
Well, it's
and
because
leaves the doll world?
there's Barbie Land, and yeah, she like leaves Barbie Land and she goes to the real world, but like she is like.
Is it the Truman Show?
She floats from a dream house, and it's meant to be like how you would play. So like Barbie doesn't use the stairs because you would just put them on the floor, and
And her feet are
upright and
Yeah.
not flat. It's I was a bit confused, but I mean it might clarify it in the
By all
movie.
account, our sister Nicole has seen it, hasn't
Has
she?
she? I don't know.
Sure, she said she's
She
seen
probably
it.
has.
She said she might have seen spoilers for it,
Yeah.
and she told me that she guessed the ending and got it right.
Right.
Which isn't very good because, no offense, Nicole, she's not very good
Oh,
at guessing
that's
ending
nasty.
films. No, she is. She's good. She's good at guessing films. She's the same as us. We get slated for guessing films.
She watched loads. When you've watched as much cinema as her, you get yeah.
But yeah, I don't like messages like that. Like if we watch Super Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
like that seems like a silly child film. It's a bit like any animated Disney film as well. You don't expect, like, I would want to go to it, and on the first watching, I would be able to sit there and go, you know what, that was really funny, and I enjoyed that. If I watched it again, I could go, oh, you know, that was telling me something there. Fair enough, you know, yeah. Like, you know, things like Shrek tells you not to judge people by their looks, and
Yeah. But I
Kung
feel
Fu
like
Panda does the same thing.
do you not feel like that's more of like usually, and I feel like sometimes there's like a scene where it's like it's literally just the characters just saying this, like, you know, like this message, blah 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 blah. Whereas I prefer like a more subtle approach where it's like the progression of the characters. It's not quite as forward. You can kind of watch the movie and at the end of it think, oh, you know, that was a really good movie about, you know, like whatever that you're watching. It's
And I'm glad you said the word subtle, because if anyone's subtle, it's Christopher Nolan.
yeah.
And that wasn't even me being a jokey, because when Oppenheimer, to me, will probably be the opposite of what Christopher Nolan normally is, in that he does like to be subtle and kind of go, well, you figure it out, you figure out what this is, you figure out what that is.
Which is sometimes the hardest part of the movie.
Yeah. Tenet was a mind
Tenet,
boggle.
Inception.
But those films are good because even the Dark Knight trilogy, the ending of the Dark Knight trilogy, people come up with their own versions of what happens. And it's like, that's good because then that inspires you to create yourself, and it's, you know, it's better than having a face slapped and people telling you that's what you should be knowing and that's what you should be thinking. Films are always better when you can take your own meaning from them. And there's obviously universal films where you know what the story is that they're trying to tell you.
Yeah.
But it's I like how Christopher Nolan kind of interweaves interesting things where it makes you think more about what exactly he's trying to tell you.
But you don't think that Oppenheimer will be like that?
I don't think Oppenheimer will be like that. I think Oppenheimer's
Do you
is
think it's going to be very more like this is the message?
not so much like I think Barbie will be. I don't think it'll be like Barbie will, where it'll literally be standing there going, this is what's wrong with you, audience.
Do you think?
Yeah, but I think Oppenheimer will go, okay, so these are the stakes. They're both trying to build the atomic bomb.
I think that
We don't necessarily want Oppenheimer to build the bomb, but we want him to build the bomb more than we want Hitler to build the bomb. Just in case you didn't know that.
When you put it that way.
You know.
But I think, do you not think though that because we already know what happens with Oppenheimer, we know the outcome. If you've read a history book, you know the outcome. So it's you go into it knowing what it's weird because you go into it knowing what's going to happen, but you still are like you still have to intrigue you enough to actually sit there for 3 hours and watch this movie.
I think the subtlety in this film, because the main story in this film, just like again you can apply to any film, right? The main thing in this is the building of the atomic bomb. But I think the subtle story that goes in between it will be like, what kind of impact does this have on the people that are building it?
Like psychologically,
because
and
it's
emotionally.
like they know what they're building is going to be
Like destructive, just life like
beyond destruct. Like they're going to change life as it is by decimating life as it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, so how does that knowledge impact them? You know, like it's a bit like you could do, say, with The Dark Knight. It's like, okay, the film's a superhero film. Batman's trying to stop the bad guy. That's the story.
Yeah.
But the actual story is exactly how far is too far when you're fighting a guy like the Joker. Is trampling on people's liberties too far.
Mm-hmm.
Is lying to everyone too far.
Like, he has the opportunity to kill him and potentially just end the suffering, but he chooses not to because of immorality.
But he will spy on the entire city just to catch him. And it's like, is that too far? And then, of course, he lies to everyone by telling them about Harvey Dent. And, you know, and that's why one of the reasons that I really like Christopher Nolan is that he basically goes, so this is the main story.
Yeah.
But this is, you know, this is the other bit that you need to try and pay attention to.
Yeah.
Which is why, again, I'm more looking forward to Oppenheimer than Barbie. Just in case.
Do you not think that might be because we don't know who Greta Gerwig really is? Like, I don't think I genuinely can't think of a movie of hers that I've seen. Maybe I
Her
haven't.
name sounds familiar, and
it does.
I feel like
But I just can't for the life of me know any of the movies that she's done.
Little Women.
I've seen Little Women. I did actually like Little Women.
You've seen
You know
Little
what?
Women?
Fair play. I like Little Women.
Greenberg. Let's have a look. Movies. Isle of Dogs. There's Lady Bird.
I think I've seen. I've
heard of Isle of Dogs. That's a puppet film.
I think Lady Bird has Timothy Chalamet. I think. Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah.
She's doing the new Snow White film. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You know the new Snow White film that isn't about 7 dwarves. Because apparently Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs shouldn't be about dwarves.
That's a whole
That's a
issue.
whole different podcast.
That's a whole issue, though.
Yeah. So it sounds like she's a sort of up and coming. Because she's only 40 years old, mind. Fair play to her.
I've seen Little Women. I did like Little Women, so fair play.
Little Women's one that we need to watch apparently.
Yes.
Well, I need to watch apparently.
I've seen it. You haven't. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe that's a part of the reason I'm not so excited for Barbie.
Yeah.
You know, because we're like, oh, Christopher Nolan, we know Christopher Nolan, we've seen his stuff, like, we know it's going to be a good movie. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a good movie. Whereas Barbie, it's like, we don't really know Greta Gerwig that much.
Yeah.
I've seen Little Women, you haven't, so you don't really know her at all.
Yep.
So maybe that kind of plays into it, like, we don't know what to expect, except for that it has Margot Robbie and...
Yeah. And she was attached to this project for very early on. Like 2 or 3 years before the film got made, Margot Robbie was announced as Barbie.
You know, Amy Schumer was originally meant to play Barbie.
I know, yeah. But she fell out with Greta. She fell out with Greta Gerwig, didn't she?
Which I don't... Yeah, apparently she doesn't like the direction it was going in or something, whatever. I don't know.
It's just strange. It's a strange thing. But if we move away from Barbie and Oppenheimer and back to that other topic I was talking about, are there any other directors that you think that you can get excited about?
Because could get excited about.
Because to me, Christopher Nolan is like, I would get excited about Quentin Tarantino, but it also, I think, with every other director that I can think of, depends on the context of whatever the film is.
Yeah.
Like if the Russo brothers, for instance, right? Normally I would go, well, you know, okay, I'm not that bothered.
They've done some good stuff,
but if they turned around and went, well, we're doing Avengers 5, I would be like, well, okay, now I'm excited.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough.
That's probably the same. Yeah. Like I say, it's more than just that, though, isn't it? It's like the director, the cast, the topic of the movie all mixed in.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if it's a good director, because if the cast is rubbish, then you're not going to want to see the movie, are you? If they're terrible actors and you've seen loads of their stuff and you know they're not very good.
Yeah. Actors like...
Do you know what I was going to say, right? And I was a bit like...
You didn't want to say a name.
With Barbie, if it had remained Amy Schumer, I probably wouldn't have wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Because... it might be controversial. I don't really like Amy Schumer. I don't think she's...
Who's that SNL actress?
That SNL
The blonde
actress.
one that was in Ghostbusters.
Blonde one was in Ghostbusters?
Yeah, she was in the female Ghostbusters.
It's...
Oh, she's in so much.
The blonde one?
Yeah, you'll... Is it Kate McKinnon?
I'll know her face. I just can't... I'm not very good with personality.
I think it's Kate McKinnon. I think
Wait,
that's her name.
is she in Barbie?
Yes.
Does
But
she play...
she's one of the actresses that I don't like.
Yes.
You know her, don't you?
Yeah.
And the reason I don't always like it when SNL actors go into Hollywood.
Because it's not the same kind of acting that you do.
And there's a lot of SNL actors who have done really well in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. They're all very talented. Bill Hader, I really love Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler, I think, was SNL as well. I like his stuff. But Kate McKinnon seems like someone who would be better suited to being a talk show host.
Yeah.
Like a Jimmy Fallon, who was also on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but you know, that's me, an English person. I don't really like American humor.
Yeah. But yeah,
I don't like American sitcoms. Literally, the only American sitcom that I've ever actually liked is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
And you like Friends?
And Friends, yeah, Friends. But like, I never got it about The Big Bang Theory.
I've never really seen Big
so
Bang
many
Theory.
seasons of that, and I just waited for my first real laugh, and it just never came. I actually like Young Sheldon more than I like Big Bang Theory.
I haven't seen either.
Young Sheldon's actually really nice and really sweet.
Yeah, so I feel like if Amy Schumer had remained.
Yeah.
Because especially it's like the main...
God, I forgot we were talking about that.
The main... Yeah, it's because it's like the main character though, isn't it? Like if...
Yeah.
I do like Margot Robbie. I think she's a really good actress.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems like a really nice, genuine person. Whereas Amy Schumer, I'm like, I don't really like her as an actress.
Have you seen the story about who she's married to?
No.
You know, in Harry...
Oh, that she... I know that. I thought he was in Harry Potter.
He's
as
in
an
Harry
actor.
Potter. Yeah, but do you know
Yeah.
which one he is? He's the one who gets pushed when Draco goes to watch Harry climbing the hippogriff. Different story, actually, but go back to what you were saying. A different story at the end.
I can't remember what I was saying.
Amy Schumer.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you there. I just
Yeah.
reminded me of something.
What was I saying? Because she's the main character. Had it been Amy Schumer, I'd been like, well, she's going to be in the entire movie, isn't she? I don't really want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, as an actress, I don't think she's really that good of an actress. She does pretty much the same role every single time. The kind of funny, humorous kind of person. And I've never really found her that funny either. I'm sorry, like, if you do find her funny, but whenever I've seen her make jokes and all that stuff, I'm just like, I don't find her very funny.
Yeah. I've only ever really laughed properly once at Amy Schumer, and it was when she was on Ellen, and she was talking about, is it Diane Kruger? Is she the last that was in Glee? Diane Kruger? The blonde lass. It was in Glee.
Right.
She was in I Am Number 4.
Yeah, you know what? I remember her from that, but not from Glee. Yeah.
Her. And she was talking about how they're best friends and how they went to a basketball game once, and everyone was like really crushing on Diane Kruger, and no one even knew who she was because Diane Kruger is obviously really beautiful, and she was just putting herself down because that's the kind of humour that I like. I like self-deprecating humour, which is why I like English humour so much. Well, I like 80s, 70s and 90s English humour. Noughties and 10s and 20s English humour hasn't been great. You know, the kind of like Stephen Fry, that kind of self-deprecating humour, where you can just sit and take the mick out of yourself and just laugh about it. And it just feels like there's not a lot of American comedians. Well, there is a lot of American comedians, a lot of American SNL actors when they're on SNL do that. I just don't think there's all that much of that in. It's why I like Chandler in Friends. He's very self-deprecating. You know, it's Ross when he goes through his like really depressing phases is like really funny because he's just self-deprecating. But it's like, yeah, I can't get away with Amy Schumer either. She doesn't do it for me.
No.
But I trust Margot Robbie to try her hardest.
I think it'll be good because it's got good actors in it.
Because God knows she tried with Suicide Squad.
The first one. The second one was good.
The second one was good, but that was because of Idris Elba.
And James Gunn.
And
John
John Cena.
We have to give credit where it's due.
And the guy who was Spotman.
So basically all of the cast did well. But yeah, so it's a big cast though. I didn't even realise. I saw like
Will Ferrell.
The list of people in the movie is like long, so it's got to be decent. But yeah, I still feel like I would go for Oppenheimer.
You know when we were saying how we like films where it lets you come up with sort of put the pieces together. Tenet?
Oh my god,
that was a prime example, wasn't it? Like at the end, and they're saying all these things in the wrong order, where they're saying things like, "I'll see you in the future, friend," and you're sitting there going, "Wait, what?"
That literally, like, true story. We watched the movie, left. We went to KFC because it's right next to the cinema, and we just sat in the car park of KFC, like.
Silently.
Like, just ate our chicken, like.
The thing is, we didn't leave. We sat there for about 20 minutes in the cinema going, huh? With drool coming down, being like, huh?
Yeah, I think we got like a tub of popcorn to share, and I think at one point I just abandoned the tub of popcorn because I was like, if I can't chew and think about what this movie is telling me, it's too much. And then we sat in the car park of KFC for like an hour or something, just talking about the movie, trying to figure
it out, yeah.
what if it happened.
And it's still taken me 2 or 3 attempts, and I still haven't fully figured it out.
I did better at that than I did when I first watched Inception, because it took me a very long time to get Inception.
I liked
Even
Inception.
now, I'm still like, I think I got it.
The Matrix, that was the one for me.
That really like boggled.
Yeah.
The Matrix.
Yeah. It's easy for you to say, really, The Matrix, child of the 10s.
Sorry,
I was a 90s child.
Sorry.
Imagine me, a 3-year-old, watching The Matrix. I thought I was dying.
Oh, yeah, but that's fair. You know what, fair.
But yeah, any other... The thing is, though, Bryce Dallas Howard. I get excited when she directs things.
You can't just say a name and not... just...
I like it when Bryce Dallas Howard directs series shows.
Yeah.
Because they normally blow my mind.
Star
because
Wars.
she'll bring a Jedi in, or there'll be a...
Yeah.
Or the 66 scene.
Has she directed much else?
There'll be a Luke.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
You just like her in Star Wars?
I also just like her as a person. She seems really cool.
Yeah.
I want to be friends with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
And Jon Favreau. I like Jon Favreau as well.
And Dave Filoni.
And Dave Filoni.
That's actually, you know what? If Dave Filoni directs something, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I suppose we can leave it there. What have we been doing? 31 minutes.
Mm.
Is that alright for a podcast? 31 minutes is alright for a podcast. Let us know what you think. Give us some ideas about other things that we could talk about if you want to hear our opinions on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
This was just the easy one. It's been the big event of the summer, hasn't it?
It's still going?
It's still going. As I say, right now, I'm pretty sure that Barbie is still beating Oppenheimer.
I think from
I feel like... Sorry, we're not going to end the thing here. Do you not think that Barbie, because it's Barbie, is more suited to a wider audience than Oppenheimer is? There's not going to be 9-year-olds going to watch Oppenheimer.
No,
But there'll be children and...
But that's fair, but is Barbie for children, though? If it has a serious message at the end, maybe it's not for children? Does it have a rating? Is it...
I think it's going to be one of those things where people will say it doesn't have a serious message if you're a child, because you'll just watch it and go, oh, the good guy won.
Yeah.
But in reality,
yeah.
you'll be like, well, why on earth is that in a Barbie film? You know, it'd be like if you went to a Kung Fu Panda film, yeah. And then they started going on about something ridiculous. They didn't put any kung fu in it. They didn't put any humour in it, any sort of laughable Jack Black antics, and it was all just ridiculously serious. You know, which is as some children's movies have started doing that recently, and I really don't like it.
What, putting like serious kind of stuff in?
Like becoming too serious. And people can say things like, well, if you go back and watch Disney films back then, there was always serious moments, but it's like
there was always serious
the majority of those films aren't serious. You know, and if they do, they sort of cover up the seriousness so that, yes, you adults can realise what's actually happening.
Like, they would make a sly adult joke and the child wouldn't notice it, but you, the adult, would. Yeah.
Like things like Mulan. Mulan's like, frankly, I think Mulan's the best Disney princess film. No, it's not. Tangled is. It's the second best Disney princess movie of all time, right? And it's because it takes the mick. It takes the mick out of itself. It's got your caricature big buff guy. It's got your caricature big fat guy who likes to eat everything. It's got your caricature not brave, really skinny guy, and you like every character's a caricature. But then once you actually look into it as an adult, you can kind of go, well, actually, all the characters are really great characters. Even the bad guy's a really great character. It's like, keep all of this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they didn't keep all of this and took nearly all of it out.
That's another...
That's a different point. Yeah, that's a different podcast.
Yeah. Honestly, when they first announced Barbie, I just assumed, like, oh, it's going to end with, like, some children playing with the Barbie. Do you like, and it was all a dream kind of thing. Yeah. But it probably won't.
And let's face it, there's probably going to be a Margot Robbie Barbie range.
I think there already is.
There probably is.
Apparently, they used so much pink that there was a national shortage. It was like a world shortage of pink.
Oh my god.
Because there's just pink everywhere.
That's probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's kind of funny though, isn't it?
It's funny. It's a bit like in KFC in England when KFC ran out of chicken.
Yeah.
Because they went to a different chicken people and they went, oh well, each branch will only ever need 1 chicken a day, and then every branch was like, no, we need another 30,000 chickens today. And this other way, they just had no idea what to do because they didn't know where to get chickens from.
Just go to a field like
chicken.
chicken. Like Minecraft, you get your seeds out.
Your seeds and breed chickens.
I think from what I've seen as well, Greta Gerwig, I don't think she used much CGI. Apparently they built like sets, and they kind of did it in an old way, so like when they drive in the car there's like a moving set next to them and stuff.
Something that I noticed about the trailer, and this is one of those things where it's kind of like it feels like a little bit of a dig, whereas it was like she's in Barbie Land, everything's colourful, everything's wonderful, everything's nice, they're all singing songs, everything's lovely. They come into the real world and everything's grey and it's depressing and it's drowsy and it's kind of like, well, I suppose you could argue that if you were a doll living, everything would be nicer because you're living in this fantasy world. But it's like, come on, the world isn't that bad. I don't think the world's that bad.
Yeah. I think it would be a bit of a shock though if you could just float from the top of your house down to your thing, and you know. It would be a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah. But not as much of, and I say this without trying to offend anyone, not as much of a culture shock as an atom bomb landing on you. Wonder how many people are just upset by saying
I don't think that would be much of a culture shock as it would just be a culture end.
Well, you say that. You say that it didn't end the culture that it landed on at the time.
And that's also true.
Sensitive as possible about this. But let's move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our first episode of the Canny Talk. Maybe we should do a podcast special edition where we explain to people who aren't from the northeast of England what the word canny means.
We should.
Which could take hours.
Basically, we don't talk properly all of the time. Sometimes we're quite lazy talkers, don't you think? Canny talk. We're very lazy talkers.
No, we're not. How dare you person. So yeah, just as a one-off, just in case you're wondering exactly what the hell the word canny means. Oh, good lord, what does it mean?
When something's canny, it's like, oh, that's good.
It's got too many meanings, so right, okay, so here's some scenarios. If I said, oh, Katie's canny, I might mean she's nice, she's pretty, she's...
Canny person.
She's a canny, she's a nice person, generally. But you could also say something like, oh, that building's canny big. And if I said that you would mean... It's kind of. Kind of,
yeah. It's like, it's quite big, it's, you know...
It's not massive, but it's...
It's canny big.
It's kind of big. Yeah. Kind of big. I imagine that's what Americans would equate canny to.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Canny. Or if Yeah.
Yeah. Try and wrap your head around that. Because we're going to keep doing these.
Maybe we should just have a whole section where we just do, like, English slang.
Oh, yeah.
Because that would be weird.
That'd be fun.
Because I don't care what you say, we are quite... Especially in the northeast, we can be quite lazy talkers.
It's because we're hard.
Who needs to talk?
Who needs to talk when we can beat people up? But yeah, let us know some stuff you would like us to talk about in next week's episode. Oh, also, another thing. Once we're back, fully running, everything working, and we're firing videos on all cylinders, we will be going to Patreon again.
Eventually.
Because the plan is we're going to get a laptop. Right?
Eventually.
At this minute, no, I'm going to buy a laptop either not this month, maybe next month.
So eventually.
Maybe. Eventually. When I get paid again. But I get paid on Friday. So eventually. Yeah. And what we'll do is we will go to Patreon again, and the idea will be generally full reactions, no edits, and videos early. Early videos. You get videos a week early, maybe a few days early, depending on what comes out when. Just in case someone asks us the question, Ray knows. But we still love you, Ray. Let us know some things you would like us to talk about. Let us know your opinions if you'd like to be involved in these. Let us know, and if there's enough people who do want to be involved, then maybe we will.
Might eventually do a live.
Might eventually do a live one. And yeah, let us know what you think about Barbenheimer. Which one would you go and see if you could only go and see one? Try not to spoil them though, because we are going. I mean,
we haven't seen them.
We haven't seen them. I mean, I don't know how you can already spoil Oppenheimer, because I'm pretty sure I know what happens at the end of Oppenheimer.
There's an explosion, as we've already said.
But yeah, let us know. Like the video, subscribe, ding the bell to be notified when we upload. We are officially back uploading as of Wednesday when this video comes out. And also thank you to everyone who's been very nice. Someone said I was worth 2 people because I'm nice and I have a nice beard.
They weren't so nice to me.
Yeah, they weren't nice to you. But who cares? They were nice to me. Yeah. Thank you to all of you for being very, very nice. Anything else you want to say?
No. I didn't realise I had a actually, you know, I just realised I had a pink birthday cake. Barbie. I unintentionally jumped on the bandwagon.
Clearly that...
Maybe forced on the bandwagon, because it wasn't me that picked the cake.
Clearly the pink shortage didn't affect you. Yeah. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Imagine that. One day I want to create a shortage of a certain colour. Like blue. Imagine if the world lost its blue.
Red. Red would be a good one.
But you could just cut yourself and they'd be red. Just put that on a white shirt.
Yeah, that's also something a crazy person would do.
I feel like blue would be better. Imagine if the world lost its blue.
Well, I could just find all the blue-eyed people and cut their irises off.
Sean?
What, you're talking about cutting my hand and smearing it on white stuff? Oh, we'd run out of red. Ah! Simba.
There'd be people that do that.
Rafiki never did that, did he? It was like a melon or something that he cracked it in.
I don't know what it was.
Can we stop recording? Shut up.
I need to know.